Hey everybody, so I haven't made a video in a long time, and I thought I would just explain where I've been and what I'll be doing coming up. I transitioned from being a teacher to a full-time video game 3D artist. I'm still in the process of setting that stuff up where it's my own company, so that's been a lot of work and it's kept me from doing anything sort of hobby related. And we had a death in the family recently that kept us, away from home for weeks. And in general, all of that has just made it almost impossible to work on any of this stuff. I do still see Hamilcar and Shane Smith and my friends once a week. We sit down and I try to model, but sometimes I don't even model. I just sit here and talk to the guys in Europe. And Panzermeister, he's in Canada, and that's something. So, speaking of him, one of the reasons I want to make this video is to announce that I will be, I've mentioned it before, but I'll be at the World Model Expo in Chicago, July 7th, 8th, and 9th, some parts of those 3 days, with my friend Adam Wilder and Panzermeister 36. This is, I believe, at the Hilton on Michigan Avenue, so, proper downtown Chicago. Also, I believe E&E, formerly of that 135th Scale Show, will be there. He said he was coming up. But I'm just going to support Wilder, and I've worked with them for a long time, so this will be a nice time for Adam and I to kind of hang out and talk shop. And Evan, he's coming down from Canada. I've liked that kid for a really long time. I think he's kind of a jerk in a good way, and we jabbed each other quite frequently. So it'd be nice. I think him and I are going to go sightseeing in Chicago a little bit. But if anybody in the general area, Wisconsin, Illinois, wherever, wants to come out and say hi. I know Adam's giving a like a workshop, but who also I think will be at like a Wilder booth that weekend. So come on down to Chicago and poke me. A lot of videos that I had planned are still either partially filmed or will still be filmed. I mean, there's, as you can see behind me, more tank parts do end up at my place now. As odd as it is, as I was accumulating all these things and starting to show videos of them, other people started putting stuff like that thing there as a tiger track link in their YouTube videos. And that was a little deflating because, I can't build as much and as often as some people do. So that actually caused me to deviate into different areas of World War II German armor stuff. And then when I saw that also pop up from someone else, I was like, well, I want to do something that people aren't doing. But that's just me being whiny. So I'll still do videos on my original stuff. But that also had a hand in pushing me out for a while, or losing the mojo to do more videos. Because if everyone is doing what you can do more often than you, and frankly better than you, that is deflating. But I still have a lot more bits here and things to say about stuff that I think a lot of people do. I think my niche has been rivet counting, and really digging into like technical specifications, which to a lot of people is probably very boring. But that's what I do, and I will continue to do. The tool clamp video is half filmed. The entire build log of the half track up until the hull went together was filmed. The kit review for the Jagdpanzer was filmed. I haven't done the after action on it yet. But so there's content coming. There's also this massive project I'm working on. So I'm working on a 3D model of a Tiger 1, which I don't think I've ever mentioned on YouTube properly, which is about the equivalent if you're looking for fidelity of the model. It's not a CAD model like a lot of people do. It's actually more of what they would use in film, and it's going to be every part of the Tiger 1, like as accurately as I can make it, every version of every part. Then I'll make the video. I show every part as it was changed out, when it was changed out, kind of a linear progression, so people can visually see, here's the initial hull, these were the fittings on that hull, and this month they changed this out. It should be relatively fluid and easy for people to comprehend, even if it is really boring rivet countery stuff. I've done some test renders on it. I've also just been working on it a lot. I've developed some new methods for modeling that make things a lot faster. So I don't know when that'll be done, but you know, I can show some renders here of what stuff has looked like. If you're on the Tiger Tracks Facebook page, I post little bits of it there as I do them. So as a preview to the, you know, future videos about parts, I'll just show like real quickly some of the stuff that I've gotten of real tanks recently, because I haven't actually acquired any larger stash than I used to have. So this is my Tiger 1 late. This comes from Estonia. Judging by the late chevrons, we were guessing 510, because 502 I don't think was where this was found by the time that it would have had later tracks. So this came from essentially the Narva area in Estonia. There's a really cool dealer out there that I would love to work with more. The other Tiger stuff that he had actually is going to Panzer Farm to restore a late Tiger 1 that they're working on. And I've been very lucky to be able to hook them up with some of my connections that I've made in Eastern countries, because I can't afford most of this stuff. Frankly, I couldn't afford this, but I just wanted one, so I did anyway. It's about 70 pounds, and I'm going to take it off my table now before it breaks it. Other things that I've recently gotten, I may do a video about. This is a no-tech light that I've actually rebuilt with all of the individual parts coming separately, or I just got them for very cheap, and then kind of reassembled it. There's still one part that's not quite fixed that I have in here, a little thing that tightens it up. Not sure if anybody would be interested in it, but since I like to geek out a little too in-depth about things, I know a lot about no-tech lights now. Also, I have this, which is a S-hook that I got from a Stug. That's actually going to be pretty hard to make interesting in a video, as it's a giant steel S, but still it's cool to see it in its actual sort of size and weight. It's better when you can play around with it and feel, you know, how heavy it is and stuff, but, you know, I've been collecting a lot of tools and stuff. Another very weird and interesting piece I got recently is this fender of a Panzer III. Relatively intact. It's, you know, quite rusty. I'm actually pretty sure that it's Panzer gray, covered in like a yellowish rusty color. But it was for sort of my tool clamp research. Bobbington has a Panzer III that has this exact tool configuration, so I knew where these clamps go, and by figuring that out I could figure out what part of what version of the Panzer III this came from. It's up against the hull in the middle left side, but it's fascinating. So I don't know how much depth I'll ever get to go into with this particular piece, but it's really interesting to have around. My fiance didn't think so, because she sliced her foot open on it and now has a scar because it's got very sharp edges. I also still have my wire cutters, which are in okay shape. There's some serious damage to the compressed paper grips, but we'll talk about those sometime soon. And then I also have my shovel. So all these things I want to talk about in depth. I have the things for holding the shovel and the wire cutters as well, so that's all stuff I want to do in a video at some point. I also plan to do a video of a comparison between the paperback version of Tigers in Combat versus the hardcovers, as I got copies of 1 and 2 recently. If you're into Tigers, these are really important books, and I splurged on the hardcover, so I'd like to discuss, you know, why I did that. And, you know, it's actually going to have a big part in my Tiger project, the 3D one, because not only do I plan on doing every conceivable configuration of the Tiger based on the fact that I'm making all the individual parts in 3D, but discussing markings of every unit and every Tiger. I'll also be able to do a lot of that in 3D, so that's a big part of why I've gotten so many Tiger reference books lately. Model-wise, this was Dragon's Jagdpanzer IV A0 I did for Armorama. It looks alright. There were some really dumb Dragon-type problems, but we'll get into an after action about that soon, hopefully. Shouldn't be hard to film, and my apologies for not getting it up. Unfortunately, my stuff that I've been dealing with in my personal life has prevented me from really doing much for gym lately at Armorama. And that Revostis VK3601 has my number on it, and I don't know that I'll have time to really chime in on it, so that's too bad. But so this thing was built, and I'll do a after action on that, and then the important one. As many of my friends have told me, we're all behind on the Hauptketten Fahrzeug group build. I have my tracks built, I have all the wheels, I have everything actually built on this except for the gun that goes up here, and it's mostly built. It's right over here. Like, this is that mount. Whenever I get on and talk to Hamilcar or anybody on Skype, I try to work on this. So far, most of it was filmed. My biggest issue with this thing is that fender right here. I don't know what happened, but that's a massive gap there. And I couldn't get it to sit properly. There's also gaps in here I've been trying to fill with Mr. Surfacer, so it didn't go as well as I'd like. The doors are still workable. Everything else seemed to go okay. It's alright. A little disappointing that it didn't like rock my world. And I've really appreciated like all the people that have posted on that Google Plus group. Again, not as active on there as I'd like to be, but just been dealing with a lot of stuff. So I'm debating for the Tiger one, because I'm still going to paint this. It's going to be late, and Hamilcar's going to be late, and Shane Smith, I don't even think has started yet. Like all my closest friends aren't going to make the deadline. So anybody that's participating, keep participating. Don't worry about the deadline. Who cares? I'm going to finish this thing. But the Tiger one I'm really looking forward to. I think maybe I'll create a Facebook group for that, because it is, it's easier for me to keep an eye on Facebook from work and stuff, because I don't go on Google Plus everywhere, but I'm on Facebook all the time. So I might do that. And I'll put up some stuff for that in a couple weeks. I'm still going to do the Transport Tiger later early. And I want everybody that wants to build a Tiger. And if I make a Facebook group, then I can keep an eye on it. Hamilcar could, a lot of people can sort of chime in. Could be a good time. But I'm iffy on if I want to put as much pressure on it as I was going to, as I've been so absent. I don't want to make a big to-do out of it, but I still want to do it. So that's pretty much what I've been up to. I'll post something official about the Tiger build in a while. I know Evan, Panzermeister, and myself will still be doing it. I think a handful of other people still will. But I'd like to make it a big deal if I can, but I don't want to make it a big deal if I'm not going to be around to moderate it. Take it easy.